Around a year ago, I did a video on the Kuva Ogris, which is my favourite weapon in Warframe. To me, it's the most reliable. It's almost like an ability within itself, and I'll explain why when I actually show you the build. And if we go into my profile, you can see on the third row down, there's actually one of my most used weapons in the game. I don't know why that's there. You can see the comparison of how much XP I've actually got with this gun compared to this gun, which I used when I first got the game because I bought Nova Prime. But yeah, I've used the Ogris quite a lot, generally my favourite gun. But now, with the new galvanized mods and the primary weapon Arcanes, it is even better, and I will show you why. Right, so if we head over to the arsenal, I'm going to show you on my new Kuva build the new additions that have actually come in the most recent update. So if we head on to the mods, you can see now that we have galvanized mods and we have primary arcanes. Now I do still need to farm primary arcanes, so this is definitely not the most powerful this weapon can be at this current time, as the new primary arcanes are actually really powerful. But first I'm just going to show you where you can actually get these new items from. Also I'm going to link in the cards the old Ogris build, so if you are interested, you do want to check out how much this build has changed. Like I said, this is like one of my most perfected weapons. I absolutely love this weapon. The reason why is mainly because of this Night Watch napalm and the general area of effect this weapon actually has. That the general utility of it is absolutely insane. The only galvanized mod we're actually using is Chamber. The other two galvanized mods you can actually use for primaries are galvanized Scope, which is for critical chance. The Kuva Ogris has 9% critical chance, so we're really not bothered about building for critical chance. We basically just build for raw status and damage. Mainly just damage. Status is like okay. It's already got 103% status, which is really good. The other galvanized mod is Aptitude, which does increase your status, but we've already got really good status anyway, so I really don't feel like I need this, and instead I will want to go for more raw damage or even a Riven. And this Riven is really important, and we'll go over why. But first, let me show you where to get these new items. So one of the new additions to any primary build is your Arcanes. So there's three of them. There's Primary Deadhead, which at rank 5 increases damage by 120% for 24 seconds, stacking up to 3 times on a headshot kill. Also increasing headshot multiplier by 30% all the time, and minus 50% weapon recoil. Primary Dexterity, which on melee kill increases damage by 60% for 12 seconds, stacking up to 6 times. And this increases your combo duration on your melee weapon by 7.5 seconds, and increases holster speed for all weapons, I'm assuming, by 60%. And then finally you've got Primary Merciless, rank 5 on kill. You've got plus 30% damage for 4 seconds, stacking up to 12 times. And then also increase your reload speed by 30% and your ammo maximum by 100%. Do bear in mind that there are primary and secondary arcanes. So to get the new Arcanes, you need Steel Path. If you're not sure how to get Steel Path, or you are close to unlocking it, you need to complete all nodes on every single planet. So you need to complete this one, this one, this one, this one. Anything that's flashing blue and you haven't actually done that mission yet, you need to complete it. If you want to check your progress, you can go into Show Profile, and you can go to Stat, and under General Stats, star chart progress, you can see how many missions on the star chart you have actually done. So I've done 233 out of 233. That's the maximum you need to do. You need to do every single mission on the star chart. So if you come to your navigation again and go to each planet, you need to make sure that everything's looking like this, just white. No blue markers. You need to make sure you also complete all the junctions, which if you've already got all the planets before the junctions, in one of the in the very old version of Warframe where you didn't have the junctions but you've already got all the planets, then you don't actually have to do the junctions. But if you need to unlock the planets to actually complete the planets, then yes, obviously you need to do the junctions. When you actually go to the Steel Path missions, so once you've actually completed all of the missions on the star chart, you need to set your navigation to Steel Path. The best way to farm for the Arcanes, personally I go wherever I need resources for my clan or resources in general. So if I need resources, for example, if I need ferrite, I will go to the Void. If I need polymer bundles or plastids, I will go to Uranus. And then, you know, that's just an example. But I always do is survival. You can watch other videos on YouTube, the best way to farm survivals for Steel Path. But basically you're going to get an Acolyte spawn, which is a wannabe stalker. And they are going to drop Arcanes every time they are killed. So every time you kill an Acolyte, they will drop an Arcane. It's a guaranteed drop. They can drop any of the new 6 Arcanes. That's how you farm them. Every 5 minutes on a survival, you will get an Arcane. Obviously it's not that simple if you ain't got a very good build, but you know, if you build your Ogris up good enough, then hopefully it will help you anyway. To get the Galvanized mods, you also need to complete the whole star chart, and you need to do arbitrations. On an arbitration mission, you need to kill the arbitration drones, and they will drop the steel essence, oh, not steel essence, sorry, they will drop Vitus essence. So once you've got your Vitus essence from the drones that spawn on the arbitration missions, you want to look on the map. You want to look on your map for the orbiters of Hexis, and then you want to come to this guy. So this is where you can come and trade in your Vitus essence for all of these rewards. If you go to the bottom, you can see that there's all of these new galvanized mods. I'm missing 2, but there are 3 galvanized mods for each weapon category. Not every single weapon category, but shotguns, pistols, and rifles. There are rank 10 mods, so obviously they're going to be very expensive, but that's how you get them. Very easy, you just do arbitration missions, whatever arbitration mission pops up, kill the drones, get the Vitus essence. And now it's much easier to get Vitus essence than ever, because before the drones had 3% chance to drop Vitus essence on death, now they have a 6% chance to drop. So it's literally doubled. So now you know where to get the galvanized mods and the new Arcanes. Let's go over the actual build itself and what's actually changed from last time. So of course we're just going to go for raw damage to begin with. Heavy caliber actually really suits this weapon because the less accuracy actually makes it so your projectiles spread out a lot more, which with Nightwatch Napalm means that your napalm actually spreads to much more of an area, which means that enemies can actually walk onto the fire and stagger. The other main thing that you want to use for this build is definitely multi-shot. Multi-shot increases how many rockets you actually release from the chamber each time you fire a shot. So you can see the multi-shot I have here is 2.7. So every time I pull the trigger, I will shoot 2 shots, and I have a 70% chance to shoot an extra shot. Now I get this much multi-shot by Galvanized Chamber, increases the multi-shot by 80%, and my River mod, which increases it by 92%. But every time I get a kill, it increases by another 30%, up to 5 times, which is basically another 1.5 times. So if I've got 5 kills consistently, I've basically got 4.2 multi-shot. So every time I pull the trigger, I'll definitely fire 4 rockets, which means 4 instances of Nightwatch Napalm, which is an extra 30% damage, which is a lot. So basically you're doing like an extra 120% damage just in the actual Nightwatch Napalm, which is crazy. And obviously that Nightwatch Napalm is going to do a lot of damage to the enemies itself, but also will set them on fire and basically deny a whole area so the enemies can't actually pull through. On top of the Nightwatch Napalm, you want Firestorm as well. This is optional, but it will increase the area. But Primed Firestorm, along with, if we go on to the melee weapon, which is Furax Wraith, you can use Amalgam Furax Body Count. You get this from the Ropalolis boss fight, and you've got a chance for it to drop. But this also increases specialized launchers blast radius by 20%. So in total, that will increase the range of the blast radius by 86%, which is quite a lot. So you're almost doubling your blast radius, which is crazy. When you're absolutely storming through missions and you're running through with like a fast frame or whatever, you can basically just explode a whole area, and obviously you'll see that in some gameplay very soon. But yeah, I use the Amalgam Serration just because it gives me that slight extra sprint speed. Slightly less damage, but I've got damage from everywhere else anyway. Obviously I've got some damage on my River mod too, which is another 200%, so in total we're getting, what, like nearly 500% extra damage just from these mods, which is basically what you need because you're not going for any critical chance or critical multiplier. Obviously, sometimes you will get it, and if you want to, you can use a Kuva to increase your chances of getting critical chance. You can either use the Smeater or the other Kuva, which its only ability is to get crit chance. Then you're going to do some crazy damage. That's more of the thing about this weapon, is that it's not really for absolute crazy damage numbers. You will do a lot of damage and you will kill a lot of enemies, but you won't see massive numbers on the screen because you're not going to get massive critical hit. On top of that, I go for viral. The reason I go for viral is because this will make the enemies that it hits and inflict viral damage or status effect onto the enemy, and then the fire damage from Nightwatch Napalm is obviously going to do even more damage. So that's the most powerful thing about this weapon. You inflict viral status effects onto enemies, which makes them take more damage and is very good against flesh. And then the heat damage also reduces the armor, because that's what heat does when enemies are on fire, makes them panic so they cannot move, so they'll stand there flailing their arms around. And then also the heat's going to do even more damage. So that's like the destructive potential of this weapon. That's if you get that, if you understand that, then that's really what makes this weapon so powerful. So that's why I go for viral and heat. And I use I hate this word. Malignant Force, which drops from Corrupted Vor in the Void. I use this and Rhyme Rounds, which I believe you can get easily. Don't ask me. Because it gives the extra status chance as well, which makes it so my status chance is 100%. Basically, every time I fire shots, each enemy is going to be affected by both heat and viral. If you want to go for a little bit extra damage, you could go for Infected Clip and Cryo rounds, but we already have so much damage stacked up anyway that I would rather try and get some extra status chance. And then we have Vigilante Supplies, which helps with our ammo issue. Especially on my Riven, I was kind of unlucky to get ammo maximum as a decrease. Normally ammo on this weapon is not too bad, you get about 30 rounds plus, but this basically makes it so every time I run over any ammo source, I convert it to the ammo that I actually need. They're all the mods, and this is the new addition, which is very good. On the previous video that I did for my Ogris, I used Standard Firestorm instead of Prime Firestorm, because at the time Prime Firestorm wasn't available. But now with this and the Fiorex Wraith Amalgam mod, like I said before, you basically like double your damage, so it's very good. Not double your damage, sorry. You double your effective range of your actual blast area. So of course, in addition to the mods that are now available for us to use, we also have the Arcanes. Now of course the Arcanes come from Arbitration, which we've already been over, so you can get them from the Acolyte drops. But the one I want to use on this build is Primary Merciless, but unfortunately I just do not have the time at the minute to actually farm for these Arcanes, even though they are a consistent drop. Now what this Arcane does, if you get it to rank 5, which is going to be very good, increases your damage by 30% for 4 seconds, and it stacks up to 12 times for every kill. So in total, if you get 12 kills, and you are getting kills consistently, you've got a extra 360% damage on top of all the damage that we've already got. So we're already at like, what? That's like nearly 800% extra damage what we've got including our mods, which is crazy. Now I'm not sure if this actually multiplies your mods, or it is an addition to your mods. If it's a multiplier to your mod, then I think it's going to be a bit too overpowered. So I'm just going to assume that this adds an extra 360% damage to your mods as well. I don't think it's actually going to multiply the damage of your mods. Also, this increases reload speed by 30%, which is okay, because the reload speed is already decent on this weapon anyway, to say it's only got 3 rounds in the chamber. So extra reload speed just means that I'm going to be able to get more rounds off more quickly, which is really not an issue. that's only a good thing. And 100% ammo maximum is going to be very useful too, because I'm already losing so much ammo on my Riven anyway, so the extra ammo is going to be nice. And then I can maybe swap this out for either Cautious Shot, so when I'm using it on frames that don't have Prime Sure-Footed, which I'm going to show you my Chroma build in a second, I can use this instead, which will probably be a little bit better. Otherwise, I can use Terminal Velocity, so my rockets actually have increased projectile speed, which is good because it means you can generally be more accurate and hit moving targets a lot easier. So that's the Ogris build. So they're the stats overall: 40,000 damage, and if you think about it, once that's not even with the full multi-shot from the galvanized mod. If we've got 4.2 multi-shot after getting 5 kills, and the extra arcane on top of that, you can imagine that that damage is probably more around like 55, 60,000 maybe, which is a lot of damage. On top of Chroma's abilities, which is Vex Armor, increase and adding another 637% damage. This is with my versatile build, so this is not a full-on like damage build. If you go for a full damage build, you can probably get an extra 1000% damage out of it, which is nuts. Basically, there's a lot of damage. Okay. So now if we actually go into the Chroma build, this is my versatile build. You can go for a strength build. I will actually link my Chroma builds in the cards. I have a very old video for my Chroma build, and it's basically just the same. I'm pretty sure I haven't really changed anything since. So I use my versatile build only because it allows me to use all of these abilities, including my effigy. A lot of people think effigy is trash, but I really like it just for extra utility. And also, I think it's generally really powerful since they changed Chroma with the Vex Armor actually affecting its damage too. So you can actually use effigy as a really good defensive tool when you need it. And I like the extra mobility when I actually cast my effigy anyway. So that's why I use more of a versatile build rather than a raw strength build, because then I'm only really using Vex Armor, Elemental Warp and some other subsumed ability anyway. And I like Defy on this build because if I'm taking a lot of damage, then I can cast Defy, and whilst I'm invulnerable from Defy, my Arcane Grace heals me. So that's why this build is really strong anyway. So yeah, this is the Chroma build I use. If you want to try this with it as well, that's really good because you're really tanky. This is basically just a better Anaros in my opinion. If you use Anaros with this build, you're just shooting yourself in the foot because yes, you probably just won't die with Anaros, but at the same time with Chroma, you can die, but if you actually play and interact properly with your powers, then you aren't going to die because you're so tanky, but you also get the really strong damage buff from Vex Armor anyway. So that's why I use this build, and also I use Prime Sure-Footed, which now they've actually changed Cautious Shot. We've obviously talked about Cautious Shot a minute ago, but I'll actually tell you why now it's actually good, because if you Cautious Shot before was only plus 90% chance to not be staggered from your radial effects, but now you have a 100% chance not to be staggered from your radial effects, so like your explosions that you create with this weapon. But if you're gliding in the air, you still get staggered a little bit, even with this mod, so that's why I just use Prime Sure-Footed, because there's an absolute 0% chance that you'll ever stagger. I use this just for consistency. I could swap this out for something else, but for now, this whole build is fine, and then I'll probably have more capacity to change this, because I don't really need it, and I could, if I wanted even more damage, I could either use Corrosive Projection, which is good, Enemy Radar, just so I can see where the enemies are, Growing Power, just for even more damage from my Vex Armor, and actually more health and armor in general. Sprint Boost is always good, you know. There's Rifle Amp for even more Ogris damage, which is ridiculous. So yeah, there's all these possibilities to change the build around. Other than that, that's pretty much the build I primarily use if I really want to stomp with the Ogris. Of course, you can just use this Ogris with any Warframe anyway, and it will definitely do some work. So after I've finished talking and basically explained the build, I am going to leave probably a clip running of the Chroma build, just so you can see how powerful it is anyway, and just a build with any other Warframe, just to show how powerful it really is. For example, if you're using Cora, and you use her ability where you can whip the enemies and drag them all together, and then you use the Ogris, or for example Nidus. I don't have a Nidus loadout, so that's why you can't see him. If you use Nidus and you pull all the enemies together and then use the Ogris so they all just burn and die in the same pile, very effective. Like, even if you're not using Chroma for like the most power and the most damage, you can still use the utility Warframe to drag all the enemies in and then kill them all in the same time. So yeah, that's the Ogris build. I mean, I don't really have too much to show. It's basically just a video showing like how I've updated this build. Of course, this isn't really min-maxed yet because I don't actually have this Arcane max, which I should really do, because obviously you can use the Arcane on any prime race. So yeah, if you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments. I hope you enjoy the gameplay, just to actually show how powerful the build is on all mission types really. On Exterminates, they're really good because you can just run through and annihilate all the enemies. On defense missions, they're really good. The Ogris is really good because you can deny areas with the Nightwatch Napalm. So I'll leave some gameplay, probably just a little montage of stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you liked it, of course. If you disliked it, then please tell me why you disliked it, as well as leaving a dislike. like and dislikes is fine, whichever one you want. Hopefully going to be uploading more regularly, but I'd love to say I will, but if you want to see any videos in the near future, possibly a few months from now, then please subscribe. Would be much appreciated, because I need something to motivate me to upload. Yep, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.